the sunlight completely fades and darkness falls, an entirely different biological world awakens. In that pitch-black expanse, speed is no longer the absolute king of the sky. To understand the sheer brilliance of owl biology, we must contrast them with one of the most exceptional daylight predators, the falcon. The falcon is the ultimate symbol of extreme speed, a living arrow tearing through the air at velocities that can exceed 200 miles per hour. Hunting by day, they capitalize on the bright sunlight and a perfectly aerodynamic body to overwhelm their prey with pure acceleration. The whistling rush of wind ripping through space as a falcon dives is a death sentence, but it is a sentence delivered out in the open, because by the time the prey hears the sound, the talons have already pierced its flesh. When darkness takes over, however, that strategy completely fails. In the dead of night, small rodents possess hearing so acute that they can detect a single falling leaf or the faintest footstep of a predator. If a nocturnal hunter makes even the slightest sound, it starves. Because of this, owls abandon the daytime speed race to become the absolute champions of stealth in the dark. Their ultimate weapon is not speed, but absolute silence, a flawless ability to acoustic cancel their flight that transforms them into the true ghosts of the forest. To crack the mystery of how owls can glide through the air without making a sound, physicists and biomechanical biologists had to conduct highly sophisticated experiments inside high-quality anechoic chambers, using omnidirectional arrays of ultra-sensitive microphones. When a pigeon, falcon, or crow flies by, the recording equipment immediately captures sharp acoustic peaks caused by air turbulence and the clattering of feathers. But when an owl swoops past, the audio graph remains completely flat, with the meter barely registering above 0 decibels. The secret behind this biomechanical magic trick lies in a unique feather structure, engineered with 3 distinct levels of acoustic cancellation that no other bird on Earth possesses. When looking closely at the surface of an owl's feather under a scanning electron microscope, the first striking feature is its velvety smooth texture. A layer of soft down covers the entire surface of the barbs, creating a microscopic air cushion. As the owl flaps its wings, the feathers slide past one another effortlessly, and this velvet layer completely absorbs the mechanical friction between the keratin structures, effectively turning the wings into a soft quilt that swallows all self-generated noise. While falcon feathers are smooth and stiff to optimize aerodynamics and minimize drag, owl feathers are porous and soft to dampen sound. The second level of acoustic cancellation is located at the leading edge of the owl's wings, the very first point of contact with the airflow as the bird flies forward. In typical birds, when the air hits the leading edge of the wing, it compresses and splits into large air currents, creating high-energy turbulent vortices, which is the root cause of the characteristic rushing sound made when a bird's wing cuts through the air. However, if you look at the leading edge of an owl's primary flight feather, you will find a row of small, sharp, stiff comb-like structures, neatly arranged like the teeth of a mini comb. Scientists call this the leading edge serration. The role of this comb-like row is to shred the large oncoming airflow into countless microcurrents, guiding them smoothly and orderly over the upper surface of the wing. By breaking down large air vortices into microscopic ones, the frequency of the generated sound is pushed into the ultrasonic range, completely beyond the hearing spectrum of both humans and the small rodents on the ground below. It does not stop there. The third level of acoustic cancellation appears at the trailing edge of the wings. Here, instead of ending in a sharp, rigid border like a falcon's wing, the owl's flight feathers terminate in a soft, ragged fringe structured like fine hairs. As the microcurrents of air pass over the wing surface and converge at the back, this fringe acts as a flow dampener. It completely smooths out the turbulent wake, preventing the formation of any sudden acoustic pressure as the air leaves the bird's wing. The seamless integration of the sound-absorbing surface velvet, the air-shredding comb on the leading edge, and the flow-smoothing fringe on the trailing edge transforms the owl's wings into the most perfect acoustic-canceling mechanical device ever created by natural evolution. In addition to the mechanical structure of each individual feather, the overall shape and proportions of the wings, relative to the owl's body weight, play a critical role in minimizing operational noise. An owl's wings are exceptionally large and broad, boasting a much greater surface area per unit of body mass. compared to the long, pointed, and narrow wings of falcons or hawks. This anatomical trait grants the owl immense aerodynamic lift, even when moving at low speeds. Thanks to this superior lift, owls do not need to flap their wings continuously or exert heavy force to keep themselves aloft. Instead, they can pull off long, slow glides with a remarkably low flapping frequency. Fewer wing flaps directly translate to less air turbulence, and less turbulence means less noise. An owl can hover just a few meters above a field mouse, and the prey will remain completely oblivious to the presence of a grim reaper suspended right over its head. The terrifying danger of this silent flight profile lies in how it completely strips nocturnal prey of their sole line of defense, acoustic vigilance. When an owl dives, the airflow surrounding its body moves so fluidly that it generates zero atmospheric pressure changes, leaving the prey's sensory whiskers or auditory systems completely untriggered. It is an absolute ambush, a perfect informational asymmetry in nature, where the hunter holds every data point on the target, while the victim remains entirely blind to the danger until the final millisecond when razor-sharp talons drive deep into its flesh. As you can see, the perfect convergence of sophisticated feather structures and fluid mechanics transforms the owl into an acoustically undetectable ghost. Yet, for a silent assassin to strike with absolute precision in the deep, heavy shadows of the night forest, silent wings are not enough. It demands a biological radar system and anatomical weapons far more mind-bending than that. When the light completely recedes, how do they see what cannot be seen and catch the faintest noises buried deep beneath thick layers of snow? Let us step right into the world of these extreme senses now. The first and most obvious feature of the owl is its massive, striking eyes, which shine like twin headlights and occupy most of the skull's real estate. These eyes are so large that if human eyes shared the same body-to-eye ratio, our eyes would be the size of large grapefruits. But the real mind-bending detail is not their outward size, it is their internal anatomy. An owl's eyes are not flexible spheres like those of humans or other mammals. Instead, they are elongated, cylindrical tubes, often called vision tubes, that are locked rigidly into the bone structure of the skull by a hard, bony ring known as the sclerotic ring. This tubular structure grants the owl a massive biological advantage. It functions exactly like a telephoto camera lens, with an ultra-long focal length, allowing light entering the lens to be magnified to the maximum and focused precisely onto the retina at the back. Thanks to this elongated cylindrical design, the owl's lens and cornea are exceptionally large, allowing them to capture the faintest photons of light in the dead of night. This creates a visual system with a light sensitivity 10 to 100 times greater than that of a human eye, depending on the specific species. However, nature never grants a free gift without some form of biological trade-off. Because these tubular eyes are locked rigidly into the skull by the bony sclerotic rings, owls are completely incapable of rolling their eyes left, right, up, or down. Their eyes are permanently fixed, staring straight ahead. To overcome this otherwise fatal flaw, the owl has developed a terrifyingly flexible neck-twisting ability that would cause a fatal broken neck in any mammal. They can rotate their heads up to an astonishing 270 degrees in either direction and tilt them dramatically without moving a single muscle in their body. To achieve such a mind-bending mechanical rotation without severing the blood supply to the brain or rupturing major arteries, the owl's skeletal and vascular systems underwent a complete evolutionary revolution. While humans and most mammals possess only 7 cervical vertebrae, limiting head rotation to under 90 degrees to protect the blood vessels threading through the bone, owls possess 14 cervical vertebrae. This is double the human count, granting exceptional mechanical flexibility between the joints. Even more astonishing, the holes in the cervical vertebrae through which the vertebral arteries run are up to 10 times larger than the diameter of the blood vessels themselves. This creates a massive internal cushion, giving the arteries plenty of room to shift and bend without being pinched when the head twists. Beyond that, at the base of the skull, anatomists discovered a system of contractile blood reservoirs that act as elastic storage tanks. When the owl's head rotates to extreme angles and constricts the blood flow from the heart, these reservoirs instantly contract, releasing stored blood to maintain a continuous flow of oxygen and constant pressure to the brain and eyes, completely preventing any localized ischemia or fainting. This anatomical transformation turns the owl's neck into a flawless mechanical swivel joint, completely compensating for its fixed eyes and allowing it to scan the entire surrounding space at lightning speed without making a single sound from body movement. When we dive into the retinal structure of these vision tubes, we witness yet another radical biological optimization for a nocturnal lifestyle. The owl's retina is packed almost entirely with millions of rod cells, the visual receptors that are hypersensitive to low light and movement, while cone cells, which handle color perception and sharp detail under bright conditions, are scaled back to an absolute minimum. Tucked right behind this dense layer of rod cells is a specialized, reflective membrane called the tapetum lucidum, which functions as a biological flat mirror. When photons enter the eye and pass through the rod cells without being captured, the tapetum lucidum instantly bounces those photons back through the receptors a second time. This gives the retina a second chance to harvest the light energy. This mirror effect is exactly why an owl's eyes flash, like burning embers when caught in a flashlight beam at night. These eyes do not just see in the dark. They can spot the flutter of a nocturnal dragonfly, or the twitch of a mouse's tail in an inky blackness, where human eyes would register absolutely nothing. Yet, the owl's most terrifying weapon does not lie in its eyes, but in its peak three-dimensional auditory system, a biological radar so powerful that it allows them to strike prey with pinpoint accuracy, even when completely blind. When you look at the face of an owl, such as a barn owl or a horned owl, you will notice a heart-shaped or circular facial disc structure made of short, stiff, tightly packed feathers. This facial disc is not for aesthetics. It functions exactly like a parabolic satellite dish. Its job is to collect all oncoming sound waves from the surrounding space, funneling and focusing them directly into the two ear openings hidden deep beneath the plumage. The truly mind-bending part is that the owl's two ear openings are completely asymmetrical in their anatomical placement, a trait found in no daylight raptor. As shown in the skull anatomy above, the right ear opening sits higher up on the cranium and tilts downward, while the left ear opening is positioned lower and angles slightly upward. This physical offset creates a three-dimensional stereoscopic sound location system of extreme precision. When a mouse scurries along the ground or rustles deep beneath a 2-foot layer of snow, the sound waves strike the owl's ears at two different moments and with distinct intensities. Because of the uneven physical layout of its ears, the higher ear catches sounds coming from above first, while the lower ear registers sounds from below with an incredibly tiny delay. Biologists call this fraction of a millisecond gap the interaural time difference. To process this data, the owl's brain features a massive auditory center packed with over 3 times more sound processing neurons than any other bird. This specialized neural engine instantly computes the time and intensity deltas between the two ears, mapping a flawless 3-dimensional acoustic blueprint right inside its mind. This processing power allows the owl to pinpoint its prey with an angular error of less than 1 degree. It calculates the exact coordinates, how far away the target is, its current speed, and precisely how deep it is buried beneath the leaf litter or heavy snow. This auditory radar transforms the owl into a pure acoustic hunter, a machine that can launch itself from a high branch cut through dense fog or absolute blackout and slam its talons directly into a target without ever catching a single glimpse of it. Once the auditory and visual radars have locked onto the target, this killing machine delivers the finishing blow, using a mechanical weapon system of terrifying destructive power. Its deadly feet and talon array. The owl's legs are short, yet they pack exceptionally developed thigh and calf muscles linked to keratinous tendons with a tensile strength that far exceeds that of other birds. Unlike the falcon, which features a fixed 3 toes forward, 1 toe back structure, the owl possesses a highly flexible digital arrangement known as a facultative zygodactyl toe. Its 4th toe can swing freely to the back or rotate to the front, depending on the task at hand. While flying or perching on a branch, they maintain a standard gripping configuration. However, the moment they dive to strike, this 4th toe instantly snaps backward. This creates a perfectly symmetrical pincer design with 2 toes pointing forward and 2 toes pointing backward. This balanced pincer configuration maximizes the impact surface area of the strike and distributes clamping force evenly from all directions, ensuring that once the trap snaps shut, the prey cannot find a single loophole to slip through and escape. The direct weapons piercing the prey's flesh are 4 long, curved talons, as sharp as iron hooks, forged in nature's own furnace. These talons feature a round or flattened elliptical cross-section, an engineering design that significantly enhances resistance to bending and compressive forces, preventing the claws from snapping when slamming hard into the bones of larger prey. When an owl strikes its target, the entire kinetic energy from its high-altitude dive transfers directly into the tips of the talons, generating immense penetrating pressure. Immediately following that mechanical impact, an automatic tendon-locking mechanism in the owl's feet engages. As the toes flex, the tendons running along the back of the leg bones pull taut and lock tightly into tiny bony ridges, acting exactly like a one-way zip tie. This mechanical design allows the owl to maintain a continuous, incredibly powerful crushing grip without expending a single ounce of muscular energy. The squeezing force of a Eurasian eagle owl, or a great horned owl, can reach an astonishing 400 to 500 pounds per square inch, comparable to the bite force of a medium-sized alligator. This tremendous pressure is more than enough to crush skulls, shatter vertebrae, and trigger instant internal hemorrhaging, terminating the victim in a matter of seconds before it can even process what is happening. The flawless convergence of hypersensitive tubular eyes, an asymmetrical three-dimensional auditory radar, and bone-crushing pincer talons elevates the owl into one of the most formidable evolutionary masterpieces of the wilderness. Yet, the lethal precision of this predator is never a force of meaningless destruction. On the contrary, it serves as a critical ecological linchpin, a vital, stabilizing balance that holds the entire biological kingdom around it in check. What would the world look like if these wings of the night stopped flapping altogether? And what actions are humans taking to safeguard these silent, invaluable assassins? We will uncover the answers together in the next section. In a healthy ecosystem, the owl acts as a premier, top-down regulator. Their primary targets are rodents, such as mice, rats, and voles, alongside large insects. Rodents possess a highly aggressive reproductive strategy. They can produce dozens of litters each year, causing their population numbers to explode exponentially. Without a natural checks and balances force in play, rodent populations would rapidly spike into a full-blown plague. This surge would wipe out vegetation, destroy root structures, deplete wild seed banks, and trigger a complete collapse at the very foundation of the forest food chain. It is precisely at this critical juncture that the owl steps forward to fulfill its mission as an ecological gatekeeper. A single pair of barn owls raising their young can hunt and consume over 1,000 rodents within a breeding season lasting just a few months. Unlike other carnivores that can easily pivot their diets, owls are highly specialized predators. They systematically suppress rodent populations wherever they nest, keeping these fast-breeding mammals at a safe, biologically balanced density. This predatory behavior triggers a positive cascading effect across the entire ecosystem. It allows young plant seedlings a fighting chance to survive and mature into old-growth forests, which in turn safeguards groundwater basins and preserves habitats for thousands of other living species. For human agriculture, owls serve as invaluable natural doctors, a flawless biological alternative to chemical rodenticides and toxic pesticides that otherwise ravage the soil and contaminate our own drinking water supplies. However, despite these immense and irreplaceable ecological contributions, these wings of the night are currently facing the most severe survival crisis in their evolutionary history due to harsh human interference. The single greatest challenge confronting owls today is the catastrophic loss of their natural habitat and safe nesting sites. Rapid urbanization, rampant deforestation for industrial agriculture, and the logging of hollow, decaying old-growth trees have completely wiped out their reproductive spaces. Unlike many bird species that can actively construct their own nests using twigs, branches, or mud, the vast majority of owls rely entirely on natural tree cavities, abandoned nests of other large birds, or exposed rock crevices to lay their eggs. When these ancient trees fall, owls are left with no place to anchor and sustain their lineage, causing wild population reproduction rates to plummet severely over the last several decades. An equally silent and devastating threat is the rampant use of chemical anticoagulant rodenticides across agricultural lands and residential zones. When rodents consume these toxic baits, they do not die instantly. Instead, their bodies gradually weaken over several days, transforming them into sluggish, easy targets for hunting owls. When an owl feeds on these poisoned rodents, the toxic chemical compounds undergo biomagnification, accumulating up the food chain and entering the owl's system at a concentration many times higher than that found in the prey. Once inside, the toxins rupture the vascular system, triggering severe internal bleeding and a slow, agonizing death for adult owls. Furthermore, for breeding pairs, this toxic load thins and weakens eggshell structures. As a result, the eggs crack and crush under the weight of the parents during incubation, completely wiping out the survival odds of an entire future generation. To counter this ecological tragedy, the international conservation community has established and deployed a series of highly strategic, scientifically rigorous protective measures to rescue owl populations. The most immediate and effective action has been the widespread installation of artificial nesting boxes across agricultural zones and secondary, regenerating forests. These wooden enclosures are meticulously crafted to match the exact anatomical preferences and entry size requirements of specific owl species. By providing a warm shelter shielded from climbing predators, these boxes fully compensate for the critical shortage of natural tree cavities. In nations leading the charge in sustainable agriculture, farmers are actively incentivized to adopt integrated pest management frameworks. This approach systematically replaces chemical rodenticides with biological controls, specifically by attracting owl families to settle permanently on farmland. This transition establishes a powerful, self-sustaining symbiosis that delivers immense economic savings for farmers while simultaneously restoring regional ecological health. In tandem with these field efforts, continuous scientific research monitors the movements and overall health of owl populations through ultra-lightweight GPS satellite tracking devices fitted safely to the birds. This real-time data allows scientists to chart core migratory corridors and identify critical ecological zones that require strict protection from industrial development. Saving the owl is far more than just protecting a silent avian predator. It is about preserving a vital ecosystem gatekeeper, an anchor that holds together the delicate web of life under the cover of night. When you hear the echoing hoot of an owl from the deep, ancient woods, it is not an omen of death. It is the vibrant heartbeat of a thriving, healthy ecosystem, a profound reminder that nature functions through flawless, intricate laws, and that our lasting mission is to cherish and safeguard these magnificent wings of the night for generations to come. So, what do you think? Do the biological life and habits of owls fascinate you? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to suggest any topics you're curious about, whether it's more secrets of the natural world or the amazing creatures all around us. We'll continue our journey in the next videos. Goodbye for now, and see you soon.